Right. Yeah. Yes. Boom, 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 boom. What's everyone good? Oh, it's been a minute since man's been on the live, you know. Cheese. It's been a minute still. Yes, guys, today I got a special one for you, Special one for you. I've been spending my time on YouTube for you guys. I've been blowing up YouTube for you guys. Eric Levine, I appreciate you still. We've been doing a lot, for the past few weeks. We've been trying to stay afloat, trying to earn money, trying to earn bread. You understand? So today, if you guys watch the show Own TV, if you watch it on Own TV, Put a Ring on It. There is a couple, Michael and Shay. I've been doing a few reviews for the show. Michael's reached out to me. We've been talking as boys, you know what I'm saying? Just getting down with the real stuff. And so today we're just going to have a real conversation with Michael from the show. Talk about episode 5 and just talk about some real stuff about relationships, you know what I'm saying? So guys, if you watch the show, make sure you have your questions ready. In fact, if you watch it, you don't watch it, doesn't make a difference. Just have your questions ready, you understand? You get me? Your boy is doing big things. I'm being me, you get me? Alright, let me get him on, and we're gonna have a nice conversation going forward. Make sure you get your questions ready, It's not a thing to be played with, cause. Alright. Ooh, baby. Oh, you know what time it is. I hope you're ready for your questions. Yes, Mike.
What's up? What's going on, man?
What's good, bro?
Man, I'm good. Thank you for having me. This is gonna be. I feel like this is gonna be a very interesting conversation, to say the least, especially after this last episode.
Trust me, bro. I think there's a lot I think there's a lot to talk about. Yeah. Because I think I commented underneath your particular video that you put up on your page, and I was saying, yo, this episode is gonna make people talk.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, they sent me that clip to post. Honestly, it was the first time I saw it. I didn't even know if I wanted to post it. I was so it was kind of cringy, and so I understand. Trust me, everyone who feels a certain way after watching it, I understand. It was pretty cringy for me too.
Oh man, you know what? I don't even want to waste time. I want to get straight into it.
Let's get to it.
The first question, I think everyone's gonna ask is around that episode 5.
Yeah.
We saw a conversation with yourself, and we saw the conversation with Shay. We saw you guys, and I love the hoodie, by the way. It's a nice color as well. It takes a strong man to put up a strong color like that. So,
yeah.
Obviously, you two are having this conversation about you bringing over Zion to stay with you.
Yeah.
I want to know what was going through your head as you're having this conversation with Shay, discussing the fact that you want to have Zion with yourself more, and obviously potentially permanently as well. When she responds the way that she did, as we saw, because that's what we saw, right?
Yeah.
Responds the way that she did as to what we have seen on the screen. What is running through your head?
Man, honestly, I'm like, are you out of your mind? In my mind, when I'm having that conversation, I'm thinking this is a layup. This should be just, look, say what you need to say the right thing here. You know what I mean? I need you to be on board with me for this specific topic. We can talk about how it's going to look and all the details of what life will be like when he gets here and everything, but I really needed her to kind of go ahead and be on board with me on that one, especially for everyone to see. It's like, damn, you could have just ran with me on that one. So it was a little tough to hear.
And then, so obviously, what was the kind of response that you yourself received from the audience? Because I just literally, I was being married at first sight previously, and I spoke to one of the people that does parts of the show, or whatever, and they were saying the response that they got was crazy, and the couple weren't even a bad couple; they were good.
Yeah,
so I'm wondering, what kind of responses have you had this weekend from the audience?
Man, it's been a rough day. It's been a rough week, but rough few days, man. I have people on my page doing whole not even about me, it's about me, but not towards me anymore. They're just having their own conversations about how trash the situation is. It's she's trash for what she said. I'm trash for letting her say it. I mean, I understand just because what was shown is it's like it's cut and dry, right? So
Mm,
you have and it's a very sensitive topic. So it's like you have a very immediate reaction to it, and it's going to be an intense reaction. So I understand why people would be frustrated and feel the way they feel. I just think like there's a lot of nuance to relationships and emotion, like an emotional reaction when you see something like that. You know, I think most people are not thinking about the nuance between us. Like there's a lot between us over the last years that we built. I know her better than anybody else. She knows me better than anybody else. So, you know,
mm,
even though she responded a way I didn't like, it's not that she was being phony. She was being real. That's what she really feels.
mm.
Yeah. So it was a lot of backlash. It was a lot.
Okay. So like, so you're so. Because I think another question that the audience will ask is: so everything that we saw in there is legit. Like that's not scripted. That's real.
No, no, they never tell us what to say. From the get-go, even from, you know, first we didn't sign up for the show. The show, you know, reached out to me via Instagram. I think I posted her last year for her birthday, and you know, they commented on the picture. They were trying to actually put us on Temptation Island. I don't know if you've
Oh,
seen that show.
whoa!
Yeah,
Treasure Island.
yeah, they hit us up about Temptation, about yeah. They and so we were actually going through the process for Temptation Island. Um, didn't know anything about. We had never watched it before. We just said, okay, cool. We didn't think we were going to actually be chosen, right? So they flew us out to LA. We did like personal interviews with the directors and stuff, but that was right before COVID shut everything down.
Okay.
So, and everything shut down from COVID, but they had our backstory already, you know. So when they started launching this show, they reached back out to us. We figured Temptation Island was a no, and I don't even think they filmed it still. They said, hey, there's another show in Atlanta that's being filmed. We think you guys would be a good fit for that. So yeah, you know, our story is real. It's legitimate topics that we had to like work through, you know, during that time that, you know, we've been dating.
Mm.
It's not
And
scripted.
it's
What they
okay.
will
Mm.
do is make us talk about it. You know, like whatever the topic is for that day, they will say, "Look, you guys are talking about this." You know,
Mm.
but it's not like I need Mike to say this and I need Shay to say this. It's not that at all. We're having a legit conversation. It just happens to be some cameras around. You know.
Okay. And how is so when you're on when they're actually filming you, what is that like? Because like, are you aware of the cameras? Do you lose track of the
Ah,
cameras? What is it? Are
man.
you acting? Like what's for real? Like how do you
Yeah.
feel when you got trained on you?
I'll put it like this. I mean, I think people can probably see the progression. Like episode one, I barely said a thing. I was very
Mm.
cold because I am more of a reserved type of dude. I mean, it takes me a minute to kind of open up to people and stuff like that. So at first, I'm like, I'm not about to tell these people my business. You know, like it's 10 cameras around here with people. They're strangers. It's two other couples that don't know me. I'm not I'm not about to talk. You know, I'll say the bare minimum, and that came off to look like I was disinterested. You know, like I didn't give a damn about the show. I didn't give a damn about Shay. I didn't, you know. So
Mm-hmm.
after a while, man, it gets to a point where you almost forget they're there, and
Mm.
the reason being is because it took us 6 7 weeks to film this, and we were filming 6 days a week for about 10 to 12 hours a day. So maybe that first week I was a little timid, and then after a while, you know, you start feeling like the camera crew is part of your daily routine. So
Mm-hmm.
you just get comfortable, and then you just start talking all type of shit.
It's the realness.
Yeah.
I feel that.
Mhm.
I feel that. I think I even got a question here. So let me ask the question.
Okay.
Throw you straight in the deep end, sir. It says, how do you feel that Shay is very indifferent about your child? Is she like this off screen, or is this the first time you've heard her speak on this matter in such a way? I don't know how much detail you want to go into that.
Yeah, for
Uh,
sure, for sure. I can talk. I can give you as much as I can. So
yeah.
let me give a little timeline. So Shay and I met about 5 years ago, close to 6 years
Okay.
ago. We dated for like when we first met. We met off Tinder first and foremost. So we first
Okay.
met. We went on a few dates. We were hanging out with each other for like a week or two, and then, you know, that was like the first little ghosting thing. About 3 months later, we reconnected. We dated for like 4 or 5 months, and then I moved away for a job, and then that's when the second ghosting thing happened. And then there was a 3 year gap of us not dealing with each other. But even in the beginning, I knew that she really didn't want kids. Like, she made that known, you know. So part of us getting back together is like, I understood that there was going to be, you know, some things that we'd have to work through. You know, I knew there was going to be some hurdles that we had to work through. I wasn't necessarily shocked by what she said. It's just, you know, you kind of hope for a different answer. You know, you kind of like, all right, over time, we're going to get past this. You know, I'm not, and again, the timeline isn't the time. You have to think about the timeline. My son is not coming for like another year and a half. So, you know, he's in 7th grade. He has to finish 7th grade, going to finish 8th grade, and then come. So in my mind, I'm like, this is something we're working towards. And, you know, I have to take some responsibility in kind of keeping my son and my relationship separate, because I have on purpose kept a slight distance between who I'm dating and and my son. Like, I spend time with my son. I don't necessarily just let him meet anybody, you know. So it's a transition for her too, you know. So, but I knew where her stance was in regards to having children and things like that. You know, I just felt like we were eventually going to work to a point where we'd be comfortable all living under the same roof.
I hear that. I hear that. I respect that. I respect that. And with even saying that as well, I think obviously with us as the audience watching that on that episode, I think a lot of us were gonna fall on either side. I think you said it earlier on. Some of us are gonna be like, how can you let that happen? Some people are gonna be like, Shay's like this, she's selfish, she doesn't think about anything else. Let me ask a raw fan question, because I'm watching it from a perspective of I'm analyzing everything that everyone's saying in terms of what they've given us.
Yeah.
There is a part of the conversation that happens where I can hear Shay, I guess, not wanting to get lost in the family aspect. So she says a lot of the time, my happiness, you know. Was that, and is that something that's on her mind? Like, because does she not want to get lost in the, is her fear, that's what I'm trying to say, is her fear that she's going to get lost in the family aspect and kind of lose herself? Because I keep hearing my happiness, and I don't want to go straight into saying this girl was selfish, that this, that. I want to try and understand that a little bit. You know what I'm saying?
Oh man, in all honesty, Shay is definitely a little selfish. I mean, she's she's a woman that she wants all your attention.
I get that.
And then this is the funny thing. It's like when I was moving back to Atlanta, and we were talking again, and we were talking about dating again and everything. She's like, well, if we're not living together, I'm going to keep on dating. So it's like, she's like, look, this is where I stand, because I guess her experience with dating in Atlanta, she doesn't feel like she knows who you really are and how you move unless y'all live together, right? So she was like, look, I mean, you can come down, get your own place, or we can get a place together. But if you have your own place, I assume that you're just doing your own thing. And that's why it's like she needs a certain level of attention in order to feel comfortable. So is it selfish? I mean, I guess you could say it is a little
on the level.
Yeah. But is it like meant to be something that's like hurtful or harmful to you? No, she's really nice. I mean, she's really goofy. I mean, it's really funny how she's being portrayed, because she's really like a ball of fun and energy and goofy, but she just has these quirks about her that's like, damn, you can't relax a little bit on this, or you know, this, you have to be like this or nothing. And you know, everybody has those things about them that they just won't shake. So that's just one of the things that she kind of requires. She requires a lot of attention. Yeah, so I guess you could say she's a little selfish, just a little bit.
I hear that. I hear that. It's raw. Yeah. It's raw. So if as obviously a man to man, obviously, I mean, hypothetically speaking, if you guys stay together, we don't know, because obviously we're watching the show as we go along.
Yeah.
How do you if as a man, how do you then protect Shay then? How does, because obviously now the internet is coming for Shay like in a certain way. I'm one of them. And we're coming like, you know what I'm saying? Like, every review, I'm just like, this girl. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
How do you protect
that person then, so that they don't feel like they're being ultimately run by the whole world just hates them kind of thing, because that's how the
Yeah.
internet can make it seem like.
Yeah, absolutely. If anybody's built for it, she is. I mean, she doesn't give a damn at all. And you know, there's definitely a part of me that wants to be like, all right, y'all relax. It's not as bad as it seems or whatever. But you know, the fact of the matter is, it's just a very touchy subject that we had to deal with. You know what I mean? So you're going to have people. There's a lot of women out there that have a kid, you know, and when they date, they let the man know. There's no way a man could say, I want you
Yep.
without your kid, right?
Yep.
So that's something that they feel that's a real thing for them. And then for them to hear a woman say, I want you but not your kid, in a sense, it's like, you know, how could you
That's
ever
weird
say
for
that?
them.
Yeah, it's man, it's triggering, I'm sure, you know. So I'm not surprised. Like I said, when I saw it, my jaw. This is the first time I saw this episode. I see this
Oh,
episode
okay,
with
so
you
it's the first
guys.
time you actually
Yeah,
what? Okay. Oh,
yeah.
okay.
So I don't know what they're gonna show. Those sessions are 4 or 5 hours long. She's talking to each couple for about an hour and a half each. You know, so there's a lot that they could take and show. And so when I see it for the first time, I'm just as shocked as everybody. I'm just like, damn, they really just aired her out. Like, you know, and I feel like they had me looking dumb, just sitting there not saying a thing, like I'm not defending my son. You know what I mean? But so it's shocking. I think it just comes with the territory. Maybe we didn't understand fully how we were going to be portrayed. But now that it's out now, I mean, we've done it. They're going to show everything that we've done. So we just kind of got to, you know, as a group, like all the couples have to be just okay with what they show and take it in stride.
I have a question here from Love from Saf. She says, what would you do if Shay said your son can move in if you marry me? I'm guessing, would you marry her?
Oh man, ultimatums are not my thing. You know, they're really not my thing. Typically, I feel like if somebody gives you an ultimatum where you're not comfortable with each choice, you probably should just walk away. You know, the third option is just walk away, right?
Yeah.
So if I was not in a place where I felt like marriage is something I would want with her, and she gave me that ultimatum, then I would just excuse myself from the situation.
I feel that. I feel that.
Good question though.
I feel that. And did you feel okay? So I think for me, I think guy to guy. Let's talk from real stuff. From guy to guy,
Yeah.
the marriage situation is always sticky. I think sometimes we
Yes.
get to a stage where you're like, yes, maybe I want to marry, but there's always this apprehension. You know, what? Like obviously, we're at episode 5. We've seen you up to that point. I think the very first time we kind of saw like what may be preventing you guys from getting to that marriage part was the ghosting aspect. And man to man, obviously, how does that impact you? Because as men, we are very prideful.
Very. Especially African men, because you're from Ghana, right?
Yeah, I'm Ghanaian, so you know.
Ghanaian, yeah.
You know what I mean? How were you able? How did you deal with it? Because you said not once, but you said twice. That does a lot to a brother.
Man, it was tough. Like I said, that's the reason we didn't get back together sooner. Because, and again, I'll just recap. We dated for about a few weeks. She fell off. She came back a few months. We dated for like 5-6 months, and then I moved for work, and then that's when she kind of fell off again. So there was a 3-year gap before we started, seeing each other again. So, man, it really was tough because from day one we had such a strong bond with each other that I didn't even, I literally told her, I said, you don't have to ghost me. You can just tell me what it is. It would help us like maintain at least a friendship if you feel like something isn't the way you want it or you're not comfortable in the situation, just tell me and we can just like, I'll be understanding. I understand, especially because it's going into a long distance relationship. I was going to have to work out there for like at least a year before I can come back. So when she did it again, I was cold. I was just like, all right, you know what? She's not going to be somebody I'm ever going to kind of be vulnerable with again. And so there was a time between that ghosting And when I started dating the woman I proposed to, and again, that was like a 2-year gap where she tried to come back and talk again. And, we actually, I was living, like I said, I wasn't living in Atlanta. So we met in Houston and just like for the weekend and just having fun. And she really wanted us to try again. And I just said, no, so I shot her down and we parted ways again, so, I mean, it was tough. It's not something that you would look back and say like is a highlight, especially because I knew it was a lingering guy. I was just like, okay, go finish whatever's going on with you and the guy, and then come back with a clean slate, and then maybe we can try it for real instead of, kind of. It's like she had her hands in 2 different pots a little bit back then. And then, once I started dating somebody else, I was focused on them. So, there was a lot there, but it definitely bruises your ego a little bit. I can't, I can't lie about that.
I hear that.
Yeah.
And do you think, obviously, because we're watching up to episode 5 now.
Yeah.
I think even in this episode as well, we saw a bit of, I call it la tete, which means tit for tat. This number situation, that happened. Okay, I call it text gates.
Yeah.
Let me start with you. As a fan, I'm watching and I'm seeing Michael on a date. Now I know that everybody knows the boundaries. Yeah. Texting was one of them. It was outside of the boundaries. What made you decide at that point to take that step and cross the boundary?
I mean, y'all saw Whitney, right? She pulled up, She really
kill me. I hear what you're saying, though, sir.
Yeah, she really pulled. I mean, man, I think the connection with me and Whitney is just undeniable. It's really authentic. It's not forced or anything from the beginning. And she actually made this experience very comfortable for me to go through. I was like looking forward to it now because I'm like, yo, I get to talk to Whitney every now and then, but so I got a little carried away when the date was over, because it didn't happen on camera. It was like off. We were done with our date. We were just chit chatting. I'm like, all right, well, shoot, let me just get your information for it, and I mean, it was tough for me to tell her no, I wasn't, because we could have linked up again on our own without the cameras. And honestly, because she is such a dope person, I don't think that she would really respect me if I were doing sneaky stuff behind, someone's back, right?
Yeah.
Like the thing about it is I was saying to myself, if she is a good woman I want to pursue, I don't want there to be any type of negativity around it. I didn't want it to be like, oh, he did something sneaky and then that's how y'all together. I would rather go through the process, finish the process, make a decision, and then pursue her like on a clean slate.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Yeah. Solid 8 or 9, you said, yeah?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes if she's in that cat suit, it might be a 10. I don't know.
I hear you. Missus, I love you. I love my missus, by the way. So yes, boy, I don't want to. I ain't trying to live in a doghouse. Trust me, it's cold out.
Don't get in trouble because of me.
Bro, it's cold in that doghouse, and I like my room where it is. You know what I'm saying? Someone actually asked a question. It's going back on what we just kind of finished, but they said, did she ever share why she ghosted you though? I think you kind of said it.
I knew what it was. Like she was in a relationship with a guy for like years. They had lived together. Man, even when we first started dating, I think the second time we got back together, the guy was still trying to linger.
Strong guy.
Yeah, he was. I mean, he was
persistent,
literally following us around, like literally, like almost stalking type stuff. So I knew what it was, and I kind of figured that I probably shouldn't get too attached yet, because when somebody has something that strong, like a guy is like literally checking for everything you do still, but you're saying y'all not together and y'all don't talk, I'm still like, okay, why is this man still so invested? So I knew the reason. I mean, I wasn't necessarily shocked. I just thought maybe by the second time we kind of got past it a little bit. But when she did it again, I was like, okay, she just really needs to finish what's going on with him.
Mm. And obviously, even in the, I think it was the first, second episode, when you guys actually spoke to Dr. Nicole, when she came to speak to you guys, you lot were speaking about, I call it emotional safe spaces. You know,
Yeah,
Switzerland, being able
yeah,
to, uh, being able to be emotionally available, vulnerable,
yeah, yeah.
right? Um, I mean, talking to Dr. Nicole, like, what kind of part did she play in being able to open you both up to this experience of being able to be emotionally safe for
Yeah,
one
yeah.
another? That
Oh,
that
Dr.
episode
Nicole.
was a powerful
Yeah,
episode. That one.
yeah, yeah. Dr. Nicole is really good. I'm not one, I'll be honest with you, I'm not one to like, I didn't necessarily believe in therapy or
Mm,
counseling. You know, I come from a family or just a culture where you kind of keep all your stuff within the family, or even not within the family, you just keep it to yourself and
yeah.
you just deal with it and you get up the next day and you just handle business, right? Like nobody cares how you feel. It's about, you know, handling whatever you need to handle for the day as a man. So it it really helped me kind of loosen that grip that I have on my emotions and speak my piece, because a lot of times I will just feel a certain way and then just figure just kind of push that feeling down and then just focus on what needs to be done. Like I can't sit here and sulk and cry and whatever. I have work to do. You know, I have responsibilities. I have a son. I got to take care of things, you know. So I don't have time to sit around and think about how I feel. Um, Dr. Nicole kind of helped me understand that, you know, how I feel is important.
Mm,
And, you know, how am I truly healthy if I'm not expressing all the emotions? Because I'll express happiness, you know, like, and for the
I heard
longest
that.
time, I'll say, how am I emotionless? I'm always happy. That's an emotion, right?
Mm,
But there's a spectrum of emotion that I'm not showing or releasing. And it's like, you know, she really helped me understand that those emotions are important too. If I really feel a way, it's okay to express that I feel that way.
I love that. I love that. And I think
Yeah.
we kind of even bonded on that moment where it's like growing up in an African household,
Hmm.
you're taught to kind of be strong, independent, you know, get your stuff together early.
Hmm.
Don't depend on anybody else because you're the only one that's gonna be able to back you when you fall, kind of thing. I mean, I don't know if you can kind of give us a bit more understanding of what growing up was like for you, because I think that also helped to shape
Yeah.
the future.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, my parents I like to say typical African parents, you know, my mom was married at 16. By the time she was 24, she had four kids. And, you know, when we came to America, we had nothing, you know, like
Mm,
we lived in what they call project housing, right? Growing up, it wasn't necessarily the best neighborhoods. We didn't have the best of anything, right? So, um, everything was focused on do well in school, behave. I don't think my parents, because they were working and going to school, they both were
this is
working. Like
it.
my dad has his PhD, my mom has her MD. And so they had to go to a lot of school and they had to
Mm,
work while they were in school. And so there wasn't a lot of space for them to sit back and care about how we felt about
felt.
things, right? So if I'm going through stuff, like if I'm getting bullied, my dad doesn't care. He's like, why are you, I'm getting beat up every day. Okay. Are you, you know, fight them back. You know what I
Mm,
mean?
do
It's
something
like,
because I ain't got time for
yeah,
this.
exactly. He's like, I got to go to work,
Yep.
whatever. And, you know, even my mom, my mom is a beast. You know what I mean?
Mm,
Like she was a nurse, then became a nurse practitioner, then went back she graduated med school at 50, right?
mm,
She's in residency right now. My younger brother
wow.
was in the residency as well and gave her a recommendation. They were in the same residency at the same
Wow.
time. My mom and my brother. Yeah. So she's a beast, like she doesn't play, but she didn't have time to be motherly, right? So
Mm,
anything I'm going through from an emotional standpoint, I just had to kind of either handle it. And I remember when it happened. There was a time when I was younger where I was crying about something, and the way my dad responded just forced me to say, I'm never gonna cry again. You
yep.
know?
Yep.
I know I remember it. Like first I was like, I'll never be vulnerable. I'll never be weak again. You know,
Mm,
so um since then it's kind of just been like if I feel a certain type of way, I just turn the emotions off like a switch instead of
mm.
leaning into it and handling it. So yeah, it's I don't think they were bad parents or anything. I think just the conditions that we were in. And my mom said it. I mean, we talked about it in my adult age. She was like, her parents never told her they loved her either, you know.
Yeah,
So
it's normal.
it's a normal thing. It's like, yeah, you know, we love you because we take care of you. You
This is it.
know, yeah, you
That
have
was
a
our
place
love.
to stay. Yeah, you eat, right?
Hmm.
You're not hungry, so you that means you're loved. Not, you know, it's not something that's really expressed, or you know, from like hugging or saying somebody, you know, saying, yeah, if you need to talk about anything, come to me. So yeah, it was just to me a typical African household,
Yeah,
which is
that's
not a
real.
good thing, which is something we need to break. I want to break that with my
Yeah,
son. Yeah.
I love that, and I think we'll even talk about that as well because I think, like you just touched on, I think when we're dealing with relationships now, we're actually talking about dealing with things in the past,
Yeah.
because they contribute to how we react in situations. Because I think when I watched it, as soon as I watched it, I said, "Yeah, he's probably gone through something I've gone through." Because the way
Yeah.
he's withholding the emotion, it's not that he hasn't got emotion. You've been taught how to withhold it. It's not necessary for now, as we've been taught.
Yeah.
You don't need it to survive. So we kind
Hmm.
of put it to the side in order to do what we need to do. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
But I
Absolutely.
think what you said there correctly is breaking the cycle. So I guess obviously for you, how do you intend or how have you been doing to break the cycle of
Yeah.
experience from our African parents, who, by the way, are amazing parents? It's just like
Hmm.
you said, they were trying to survive. They were trying to make sure we get through. And it wasn't on the top of their list because that's not essential for them. They had to get us through,
Yeah.
get us safe, get food in our belly, keep us warm in that night. Do you know what I'm saying? Pay the
Hmm.
bills. They did
Yep.
all of that. So
Yeah.
how for you are you to break that cycle for yourself and for your son Zion?
Yeah, man. It's I think it's a very you have to be very intentional about it. Um, I was FaceTiming my son today and he was at his friend's house, and like, so I talked to him for a little while, and when we get off the phone, I force him to tell me that he loves me. I'm like, I love you, Zion.
That's
And then
Spider-Man, boy. Tell me you love
he's
me.
like, yeah, he's like, I love you, Dad. And then hung up real quick. Like he tried to, you know, because it makes him uncomfortable, or like, he's a very shy kid. So we were talking yesterday, and I'm like, man, like you're growing so tall, like and everything, like you're so much more handsome than I am. And he's
Mm,
like, I'm not handsome. Like he's very, he doesn't have that confidence in himself yet,
mm,
right? So I'm very intentional about like trying to pour in confidence, telling him that like how smart he is, and he's way more handsome than I was at his age, which he is. Like, you know what I mean? So I'm not lying, but it's like, you know, he is a really cool kid. It's like he doesn't believe it yet, you know.
mm.
And so part of what I'm trying to do is be very intentional about the things I say to him, so that he feels that he always has somebody on his side.
I
Because
love that.
there's definitely times in my life where I didn't feel like I had anybody, you
I
know.
hear this.
I knew my parents were there, but I didn't feel like they were there for me, you know. So
Mm,
I want to make sure he feels that way.
I love that. I love that. I love the fact that you said it as well. You're pouring into him, you know,
Yeah,
because you know there's a scripture in the Bible that says that our words are like poison. So if there
hmm
were, and you know, it's life and death in the tongue. So you know, I think most of us, as kids, can grow up. We can remember something that our parents might have said, which was just a wild. And we're like,
yeah,
brother, my parents said that to me, and you've held that for how long? So
yeah,
you're absolutely right in terms of being intentional and pouring into him so that he can actually grow confident, you know, and know that, like
yeah,
you said, he's got someone on his side. So I appreciate that as well. I mean, how are
yeah.
you finding navigating parenthood?
One just to piggyback on what you just said, like
Go for it.
that time I said I was crying, and in the response from my parents, that I was 9 years old. I'll never forget it though, and that was from the
That,
last time, you know. So
I
when
remember,
you say, you know, your words really, you know, can create or
mm,
destroy. Like that's the thing. It's like I remember that day like yesterday, and from that time I'm like, I'll
then,
never cry again. You know what I mean?
mm.
So so I don't want him to ever feel that way. But it's my bad. So what was your question again?
No, no. In fact, let's stick on that because I think
Okay.
there's something there, bro. I think there's something there because you know what? I think even like you said, I remember when I was young. I think I was probably about 11, and I was a
Hmm.
fat kid. Now, obviously, like yourself, beasted up, worked in
Yeah.
a gym, cared it up, right? But
Yeah.
I was a fat kid, and I remember one time my dad said to me, "Wow, you just fat, innit?" I don't. Oh, bro, listen, I didn't even cry there. I just went to my room
Yeah.
and I said, "What?" Do you know what I mean? It just
Yeah.
destroyed me. And
Yeah.
like you said, you never. It's almost like you can never forget that. And in fact, when I even tell my dad, he said that, he goes, "Me, I would
He
never say
doesn't
that to you."
remember. He doesn't
Amnesia.
remember. Yeah. Yeah.
You know, so I
Yeah.
definitely hear what you're saying. Now, I think it's something that you never forget, and
Hmm.
that's why I said that I appreciate the fact that you're pouring into Zion, because I don't think like we can't underestimate the power of you pouring into him in terms of
Yeah.
what's going to happen later on. I mean, even nowadays, I don't know about yourself. You can ask this question. So sometimes you're making a decision, and I can
Hmm.
hear what people have said in the past about me. And as
Yeah.
I'm taking out this, God, can I really do this? And you're
Yeah.
hearing thought and what people have said to you and this and that.
Hmm.
So I can see how important words can be. I mean,
Yeah.
for yourself, obviously now you're seeing yourself in a relationship with Shay and, see on episode 5, you see that kind of thing. Do you feel like some of the words that you've encountered or so say experiences that you encountered with your parents have majorly shaped you in the way that you've dealt with relationships? Not just Shay, but just in
Yes, in
general.
general. Yeah, absolutely. Man, I think early on, just because I didn't have that very loving connection with my mom, I was looking for love from the women I was with. You know what I mean? Like,
Mm,
so I was, man, I get what's the West? I was a pushover, right? I was like,
mm,
I would just do whatever the girl wanted because I'm like, I just want somebody to love me,
yep.
you know. So I definitely got not physically abused, but taken advantage of a few
Yeah.
from early on in some relationships, and then I think what happened is that because of that, I got extremely guarded, and then there was
Mm,
times where I was cold and maybe taking advantage of a woman that was more emotionally available, and it's such a weird cycle. It's like
mm-hmm.
something happens to you, then you become that thing that you hate. You know what I mean? Like
Mm,
I really despised the way someone treated me, but then I ended up treating someone else that way. You know, so it really did shape it because I didn't understand what love looked like for real. It took me a while. I had to figure that out on my own. And so you make a lot of mistakes, and you end up hurting a lot of people too.
mm. When for you did you become more self-aware and realizing, rah, actually this behavior really isn't the way to go forward?
Yeah. Whew, man. How old am I again? Like, oh man, I think sometimes, man, life is a continuous journey of learning. Um, I could say I made mistakes in that relationship that I proposed to, like with my ex-fiance.
Mm,
If you had a conversation with her, she'd probably tell you, describe a man that you wouldn't think is me, right? You know what I mean?
mm,
Because we were just the environment that we were in. Um, when did I know it? I think that relationship really helped me understand how I should share, like whether the person is for me or not, I need to respect the person as a human being and love them for who they are. And I should also love them enough to know like that person isn't for me, you know.
mm,
Um, and when we got to that point in in that relationship, that's kind of what happened. I was just like, I just don't think we're a good match, and trust me, when you find somebody that's a good match for you, you're not gonna care about me anymore. I mean,
yeah.
you're gonna be so in love with that person. It's gonna feel right. It's not gonna feel forced. Um, you'll be good. So that I think just cutting off that situation was probably where I grew the most because
Mm,
I could have just ran with it. She
yeah.
was a gorgeous girl. She was from
Eight,
Sierra
nine, yeah.
Leone. Yeah, 8, 9. And I mean, and we had great times. We had great
Mm,
times. We probably could have tried to figure it out, but I don't know if it would have been the happiest situation for both of us.
I get that. I get that.
Hmm.
So I guess obviously, so you're kind of saying is that almost like that experience kind of again kind of chiseled you to be able to kind of see truly what direction you need to be going into, as
Yeah,
a man and where you want to be in the future and how you want to be a better man. That kind of
absolutely.
experience taught you that.
Yeah, absolutely. If you don't feel any type of way when someone's hurt, and honestly, man, you gotta look into yourself. And I know by calling off the engagement and moving on, that really hurt her. I don't want to put anybody else through that. If I'm gonna go that route and look for marriage and try to be with someone for the rest of my life, I need to be very intentional and honest, brutally honest about what I want. I need to give them the free space to do the same so that we understand exactly what we're getting into, and we're not playing
Mm,
games, and we're not kind of putting up a representative and falling in love with who I think you are, you know.
mm,
So I just learned to be very honest about what I want, and don't be ashamed of it. I mean, if it's something that you want that's unconventional, I think a lot of people try to fit a traditional mold.
yeah.
If you're not a traditional person, it's cool. You can. I have a cousin that just called off an engagement for the second time. you know, two different engagements. I'm like, dude, if monogamy is not for you, it's okay. Like
You don't
you
have to
keep
force
getting,
it.
yeah, you keep getting engaged and caught cheating. It's like, look, it's
Yep.
cool if you don't have to force it just to fit a story that's not yours. You know what I mean? It's okay. So I think that people need to be honest about what they want and be okay to express it.
I hear that. I hear that. I like that as well. I think, even though I'm a Christian, I always say to live your truth, man. Because if you
Yeah,
don't live your truth, what's going to happen is you're going to expose yourself and the other person to something, an experience which will probably end up being negative. You know what I'm saying?
absolutely.
In some form. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
Actually, live your truth in the truest. Okay, so obviously, let me come back onto episode 5. You know what I'm
All right.
saying? Let me bring it back. In fact, there's a question, so let me even ask the question
Okay.
first. I'll go back.
Cool.
Love from Saf says, let me put the question up quickly. Are you worried that Shay might ghost again, or do you think that she's here?
Oh
Ask that.
man, am I worried? You'll have to find out. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like we
No.
got more show to go. I don't know. Was I worried at the time? Not necessarily. I think she knew that like if that happened again, there's no coming back from that. So I don't think it would be a ghosting situation if that happened. I think it'd be a conversation saying that I just don't want to do this anymore. Yeah.
Mm, I know you can't answer this question, but they put it there. You don't have to answer the question. The real question is,
Who
let's
me?
go.
Are me and Whitney together? I don't know.
You're getting good at this.
We might be. I don't know. Y'all might see us together. I don't know.
Episode 6, you might have to find out, innit?
Yeah, you might have to find out. Just stay tuned.
Tuning on Friday.
Yeah. First of all, I'm really humbled and honored that everybody's watching and finds it interesting. Like, when we were filming it, I didn't realize like what I was really getting into and the response from it. But good or bad, I can't believe that this many people care about it,
Mm,
and are tuned in and are having like conversations around what we're talking about. So if if us kind of making a fool of ourselves a little bit on TV and just talking to, spilling all our business out is going to help anybody, then, I think it's worth it.
I know you mentioned about obviously the process in terms of you getting on to put a ring on it, but what
Hmm.
made yourself and Shay decide, okay, let's potentially, go on
Do it.
TV? Like, was it just,
Yeah.
were you outed? Did you go and sign up or something? Like,
Yeah. No, I didn't sign up. We didn't sign up at all. Like, so last year we went to St. Thomas for her birthday. And
okay,
there's a picture on my Instagram where I'm like picking her up and I'm giving her a kiss on the beach, right? So one of the talent producers or something, literally that same day I posted it, we were still in St. Thomas, messaged me and said, "Hey, I'm a producer for this TV show. We would love to see if you guys would like to be interested or something," right? And at that
okay.
time, again, it was Temptation Island. So
Mm,
that's how that happened. We went through the whole process for Temptation Island. COVID shut the world down. And then as things started opening up, they reached back out to us and said, "Hey, we got this other show called Put a Ring on It. It's being filmed in Atlanta." So that just seemed like a better fit. At the time, we were still saying like, "Hey, let's just go through the process. We're not going to get picked," like so at
I
each
get,
stage each stage it's like, okay, you made it to the next round. I'm like, oh, okay. And then okay, now you got to have this big conference call with like 10 producers on the line. Okay,
jeez.
so we did that. Then it's like you got to do a psychological test, like this 5-hour psychological test, right? um and we get past that, and then we get the call saying we want you guys on the show, and we're like, well, damn, that wasn't our plan. We thought we would be eliminated by now, like
It wasn't, no.
yeah. yeah. So, and you know, we both work corporate jobs, so we're sitting here like, okay, how are we gonna get
Oh
around
snap!
our schedule? You know, I'm a software engineer, and she's a implementation consultant,
Wow.
implementation consultant. So, we're like, how are we going? And we actually work multiple jobs, but how are we going to get the time to do it? Because initially the time commitment was 3 to 4 days a week for about 5 to 6 hours of filming per day. It ended up being six, almost 7 weeks, 6 days a week, 10 to 12 hours of filming a day. Right. So
Intense.
yeah, I was taking my like what you don't see is every break I get, I'm on my laptop, you know,
Just banging out work.
trying to get some work done, replying to emails, hoping that my manager isn't gonna, you know, cuss me out. Um, so it was really stressful, man.
Mm.
It was a really stressful situation. We didn't know what we were getting into, you know. So at the end, when it was all over, we're glad we kind of did it. I mean, I feel like it exposed a lot of things that we
Needed
needed
to
to
be
talk
spoken.
about. Yeah, but
Mm.
it was definitely not something we seeked out. It was, you know, I know a lot, I hear a lot of comments about like other couples being like in other shows before and acting before. And I was like, it's definitely not us. We've never,
This
Shay
was
and I
new
have
to
never
me.
been on TV. We don't even, I mean, I think Shay has a YouTube page where she did her hair before. You know what I mean? Like, but
That's
yeah, so like, but no, we're not, we never seek this out. It just kind of happened to fall in our laps a little bit.
damn. Have you ever watched the episode of Temptation Island?
After they told us about Temptation Island, we did watch it, and we were looking at each other like, I don't know, you know.
I'm just
I
saying, Michael. I don't know if y'all want to see that.
Man,
Temptation
that's a
Island,
tough one.
wild.
That's a tough one. Matter, have you watched it? Have you watched all that?
Yeah, yeah.
Do
I was gonna review it, and I said this. Even for me, this is too much. I don't know where to start.
you remember Gavin?
Is that from the first season or second season?
Uh, I can't remember, but he was the one with like her name was like Alexana or
I think I
so
remember you too much.
yeah, but I met him. I saw him out here in Atlanta before, and this
Oh
was
man,
around the time we were going through the interview process, and I was like, bro, they want us to be on Temptation Island. Would you recommend it? And he was like, no, they're trying to break up your relationship.
yeah.
so, so you know, we were kind of glad when they switched it up and put us on a show where we were going to be able to like have a chance to make it through, you know, but Temptation Island is not built for like maintaining relationships, you know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's for you. If you're trying to get rid of her, then by all
Hmm.
means,
Oh
go
yeah,
ahead.
yeah.
I
I would
said
have
you,
gone on there as a single guy to try to
a
marry her, you
single
know.
guy. There'd
Yeah.
have been more than Whitney up in there. I'm telling you.
Exactly, exactly.
Great.
Um,
So got another question from Love from Saf says, what African qualities to intend do you
do you
intend
intend to
on
embrace?
embracing?
What Nigerian qual? So what Igbo? I'm Igbo, by the way.
Oh, yeah, Igbo, yeah.
Yeah, Chinedu is my name.
Calm.
Yeah.
Okay.
What qualities do I intend to keep? I guess he's thinking
Mm,
like traditions, right?
I'm guessing so.
Um,
Yeah.
I mean, obviously we're gonna go back home a few times, you know. I don't know. I don't really know. I don't try to push my culture onto someone else.
Mm,
If if I would assume that if you're trying to be with somebody, you're going to embrace everything that comes with them, and that is something that comes with me. My parents want me to kind of be rooted in our culture and go back home a lot and maintain relationships from people back with people back home. So as long as they're okay with that, then that's fine. I'm not going to force them to be anything, you know, like
mm.
you don't have to dress up a certain way or eat certain food. I mean, that's for me. But if you're interested in it, I'll expose you to everything, and you can pick and choose exactly what it is you're comfortable doing.
I love that. I
Yeah,
love that. And when's the last time you went when's the last time you went back to
man,
Nigeria?
it's been a minute.
Well, I can't be
Like
saying.
yeah, like 2008,
You're good.
2010. But yeah, it's been a minute. All my cousins now are hitting me up. I see you on TV. You know, come
Yeah.
home. You know.
Even
Yeah.
saying that, actually, it's interesting because obviously I know a lot of people keep asking Shay. People are assuming that Shay is Nigerian. I don't know if you can clear it up. Is she Nigerian or is she not?
No. She's born and raised in Atlanta. Her name is Avantishe. Avantishe. So the
Wow.
last three letters is Shay, but no, she's not Nigerian. But the funny thing about it, that's why we matched on Tinder. I thought she was Nigerian. So I was like,
We all did the
oh,
same thing.
yeah. I was like, oh, she looks good, and she's possibly Nigerian. So I matched with her, and that, so she definitely. I told her that she needs to do like a 23andMe or something. I bet you're West African something. You're definitely something.
That's real. That's real. I love that as well. Okay, I represent that. I represent that. 'Cause I know there was a lot of people trying to say she's Nigerian. They were trying to make her Nigerian. They were trying to claim her.
Yeah. I
Okay.
mean, claim her. I thought she's not a bad person to claim. Like she really, this is the thing. I think right now, I feel like week to week people's emotions change.
This is
And
true.
week one, I was probably the worst guy in the world. Like
Oh, they were
everybody,
fighting you.
oh man, I was trash, right?
Yeah.
So I think the only, I appreciate like I said, I appreciate everybody commenting, good or bad. I think it's just, there's some character development there. Y'all get to know the person a little bit more.
Would you ever do TV again?
Oh my
So,
gosh.
would you ever do TV again?
Man, when it was all over, I was so happy because they were
Mm-hmm.
taking up so much of my time. I was like, I'll never do this again. Dude, just knowing how I don't know, I'm kind of stuck. I don't know if I want to do it again. I think you're you're basically releasing all your power on how you're being presented to the world. There's no context behind some of the things I said. There's a lot of stuff that gets cut out, and you have to be okay with it. If you're okay with that, then that's just fine. I think sometimes I'd probably rather be on something like this where I'm having full conversations and talking through things, with context and really getting to express and show who I am fully, not just like the bits and pieces that the producers might want you to see.
I love that. Okay, no, that makes a lot of sense. So you're not going to go on it again, yeah?
I don't know,
We won't
man.
see you in Temptation Island.
I'll never be on Temptation Island. No, I won't do that. But if they want me to be on something that's more of like something that's more of a conversation type platform where I can really speak on topics that I'm passionate about, I would do that.
I didn't even ask you what kind of topics would you be? What kind of topics kind of make you passionate? What topics are passionate for you?
I mean, I like talking about relationships. I think right now there's a lot of men ain't ish like movement going on, and I'm just like, what is going on? Like I would like to speak on that a little bit. I like to talk about things that we need to fix within our communities. I like to talk about experiences that I've had, whether it be cultural things like with our parents and how we're raised, and how maybe their way of raising children doesn't really fit in America, but that's the only thing they know. So I mean, I'm open to talk about a lot of things.
I represent that. Oh, we've got some more questions coming through. We've got a question here from Mr. Lawrence. How has your son and your family members reacted to episode 5? Good question.
All right, so after episode 5, the next morning, I texted my son's mom. I'm like, "Hey, good morning. How are you doing?" And she hadn't watched the episode yet, so I was like, "Look,
heads up.
Just understand whenever you watch it, it's gonna be a little tough to watch, but just understand, like, I would never put Zion in a place where he's not comfortable and not welcome. I would hope that you would trust me on that." So we talked, and everything's cool.
Love that. Sound question, sound response. And Jenny Fergie said, "What qualities do you feel a stepmother should have?"
Yeah. Oh man, I think the only quality is just a willingness to be available for the child when they need you. I'm not necessarily asking someone to be like a super stepmom and be invested in every little thing. Like, she has a mom, like you're not trying to replace his mom. It's just, if we're going to all be a family, it's like he has to be included. You know, like you have to think about him when you're going through your day. You have to think about, we're making decisions as a unit, not just for yourself, right? So if I see that you're just including him and you're available for him when you need him, I mean, he might sit, my son is very chill, like, so he might sit back and not even ask you for a thing, you know? So, but just if you have the opportunity to be there for him, just be there for him. I don't know what that looks like on a day to day, but you know, I think as an adult, you can understand when a kid is like kind of wanting you to step in or needs you to step in, you know? So as long as you can do that, I'm fine.
I read that. I love that. I think another question coming through. Oh, they've asked, do you have a YouTube channel? What a timing.
No, I don't. I've been really conflicted about like starting something. Because it is a commitment. I feel like the people that are successful doing it are people that are very consistent with their content, especially as far as like when they release their content, right? It's almost on schedule, you know, like you really got to be ready to put in that work. And I've been thinking about maybe a podcast, something like that to start off.
I like that.
YouTube, I think I would probably do more of like a travel lifestyle type of
I
YouTube
think you
channel.
see that.
Yeah. Something like that, just because I don't know if y'all want to hear me sit and talk and just, you know, for hours, you know.
Oh, they do. They want to hate.
But yeah, I would be open to starting something. I haven't put my finger on exactly what yet. Maybe you can help me out with that.
Yeah, you really know. We'll talk. We'll talk. The podcast is real though.
Yeah, I need some guidance, man, because I really don't know where to go.
That's cool, bro. You know I got your back on that one, bro. But the podcast is real. I think the podcast would be good. I think you smash it. And the vlog one for you guys, I think, because you know you like travel, right?
Yeah. We're always going somewhere.
This is it. Partying. This is it. Yeah, well, I know that. I think so. If you like traveling a lot, I think you're absolutely right, man. That will be, I think, a groundbreaker for you guys as well. I think we've got another question here. Oh, she said, Miss Pification said, did episode 5 have any effect on your immediate family, aka mom and Shay? They really want to press this deep, don't they?
Yeah. So my cousin messaged me saying that apparently her mom and my mom were watching the show at the same time. No, they were they were in different places, but they were messaging each other, right? And she's like, yeah, like my mom is. So again, my aunt was telling my mom to relax and calm down and, you know, don't be so mad. but when I actually talked to my mom, she didn't say anything. She was just acting like everything was cool. So I don't know. I haven't felt any negative energy from her yet about it. But knowing my mom, she's definitely gonna say exactly what she feels when it's time to say it. I'm trying to tell her, like, look, I know it's your grandson, but just, you know,
TV.
I know. Yeah, so I don't know. It's hard to juggle because it's like, man, what I can't say it's a lie. You know, I'm not gonna tell her that it's a lie. I'm just gonna say, look, this is what we were talking. This is a topic that was an issue with us, you know.
I hear that. Is this a question? Let me just make sure it's a question. I don't want to put something on there that's going to get me in trouble. Is that a question? What kind of software dev are you? Back end dev? Yeah, good look. I don't know what that means. Is that jargon?
Yeah. So right now I'm working with cloud development, which is more back end stuff. Mainly with data manipulation, like they call it ETL, like so extract, transform, and load. Building out some ETL pipelines. I'll also do a little bit of development with a platform called Salesforce, which uses
I've heard of Salesforce.
Yeah, it's a pretty big platform. I mean, they the code that they use is called Apex. So building out applications, you know, Apex coding, stuff like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
We've got I think we've got I don't know if it will go past the hour. Sometimes it does, but more time it stops an hour in it. So we've got 30 seconds.
Okay.
Mike.
Okay.
You want to say, do you want to come back for a few minutes?
Yeah. You want to close it and come back?
Yeah, I'll close it and come back. All right, cool. All right. Guys, we're gonna come back, okay? So join us again for part 2 where we just have a lot of a conversation. Get your questions ready, and we'll have more of a conversation. All right.
All right, bet.
2 picks. Do 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 do.